Let's get acquainted. Let's get acquainted. My name is John. On the count of three, give me your name. 1, 2, 3. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Margaret and I have been married for 45 years. We have 2 children. We have 5 grandchildren. Most of you are way too young to know this, but grandchildren are God's gift to you for not killing your children. Are there any grandparents out there? Okay. You that just raised your hands, you know something the rest of these people here don't know. And that is that when you have your first grandchild, I mean, this is amazing. You hold that little baby in your arms and you say, this is the smartest, most beautiful baby ever born. And then you ask yourself a question. Why did intelligence skip a generation? I was speaking at a large convention, and I said that, and I forgot that my son Joel was in the audience. And he met me at the green room when I was done speaking, and as soon as I saw him, I said, Joel, honey, you know that story of grandchildren and intelligence skipping a generation. I was just kidding. And he smiled. He said, it's okay, Dad. It's okay. In fact, he said, I think you're right. I said, you do? He said, yeah. He says, I think you're right. He said, just last week, Grandpa and I had that very same discussion. Oh, it's good to be with you. It really is. I've been delighted ever since they said that I would have this opportunity, because I really want to pour into your life. I want to add value to you. And you're very valuable and you're very important, and I want to give you my very best. So let me just say a couple of things so I can get launched into what I want to teach on the 15 laws of growth. People ask me all the time about books that will help them really develop themselves and really help themselves grow. And I'm going to teach a few of the laws, probably 3 or 4 of the 15 laws of growth. But I want to encourage you, if you don't have that book, I'm going to give you a couple books you need to get that'll just help establish you in this area and help you be successful. And one is the 15 laws of growth. If you don't have it, I want you to get it, okay? That's the Bible on personal development and growth. It's not only phenomenal for you, but it will help you grow the people that you lead. And I'm going to teach 3 or 4 of those laws here in a moment. But that's a book that I think is just essential for your development and for your growth. The second book is one that just literally came out 2 weeks ago, and I'm so excited about it, called Good Leaders Ask Great Questions. Now I'm going to tell you, and I know I signed books for about an hour this morning, and I know they have it here, or they did have it here at least, because I signed a lot of those. They have the 15 Laws of Growth here. I know they have both those books here. And I just want to encourage you, if you don't have them, get them. And the reason for that is the Good Leaders Ask Great Questions. This book I'm so excited about, because let me just say this. Questions, the kind of questions you ask, are the key that unlock the door of opportunity in your life. If I had 3 hours, I could just give you questions that I have asked that have been literally worth millions of dollars to me. I mean, questions that if I would have never asked the questions, I would have never had the opportunity, and I would have never gone down that trail. And what I find is too many people, when they lead, they give direction and they cast vision, but they don't ask great questions. And so this book teaches you great questions to ask, okay? In fact, I'm going to give you one, okay? Just going to give you one. Why would I give you any more? You got to get the book. But I'm going to give you one, and this one is so good that this one's going to unlock all kind of doors of opportunity for you. Trust me, I mean, this is going to unlock a lot of doors. In fact, look at your neighbor and say to them, the question John's going to give us is pure gold. Go ahead and tell them that. I'm going to give you a question. Yeah. Are you ready to receive some gold, huh? Hey. Come on now. Come on. Back your truck up. Come on. Back your truck up. I'm about to dump some gold in it, okay? I'm going to, come on. Back that truck up. You got a big truck here, huh? I'm going to dump some. In fact, just look at your neighbor and say, John's going to dump gold on you. Yeah, he is. He's going to dump gold on you right now. Back the truck up. Are you ready? This question is so good. I'm not sure you have a big enough truck, but this is so good. I have asked this question hundreds of times. It has opened dozens and dozens of doors for me. This is just one of the hundreds of questions I have in the book. Just one. And when I give you this one, you're going to say, oh, this is so good. Whenever you see somebody that you just really like and connect with, and they have some element of success in their life, ask this question: who do you know that I should know? I told you. It's stinking good, isn't it? Huh? It's just, who do you know that I should know? Oh. That's just one. That question has given me opportunities to meet people that are off the charts in the area of success. My number one mentor in my life, John Wooden, UCLA, the top coach of the 20th century. I literally asked a school teacher one day, who do you know that I should know? And he looked at me and said, I know John Wooden. Would you like to know him? I said, yes, I would. Take me to him. He took me to him, and I developed this incredible mentoring relationship with him. He taught me so much in his last few years of his life. Who do you know that good leaders ask great questions? You got the title of that book? Look at your neighbor and say, get that book immediately. Tell him that. Get that book immediately. Okay. You are a very smart audience. You're very quick. You're very sharp. And I'm going to give you, out of the 15 laws of growth, I'm going to give you at least 3 laws in the time that I'm given. And so I'm going to even give them to you in what I would consider maybe the ones that are the most essential for you to have under your belt. There are 15 laws, but I'm going to give you at least 3 right now, okay? So you're about to learn something. Look at your neighbor and say, you're going to learn something. Go ahead and tell them that. You're going to learn something. Look right back at your neighbor and say, and it's about time. In fact, look at your neighbor and say, why do you think I brought you here? Hello. You see, if I could step off this stage, if I could come off the stage and I could come down to where you are and I could have a one-on-one conversation just with you, just you and me having a one-on-one conversation, there are 2 questions I would ask you. And these 2 questions I would ask you are absolutely essential to your success in this business. Question number 1, what are you doing to develop yourself? In other words, what are you doing to grow you? Because the only way that you can grow the business is to grow you. So the first person that you work on, the first person you grow, the first person that you develop is you. What are you doing to develop yourself? What are you doing to grow yourself? That's the first question I would ask you if you and I could have a conversation, just one-on-one. The second question that I would ask you is, what are you doing to develop others? What are you doing to grow the people around you? What are you doing to develop your team? How are you growing your team? I have a couple of friends that are in your business, Andrea and Jill. And I met them backstage, and they had their team together, and they've only been with you just a few months, and they're just loving this company. They're just loving the opportunity. And they had their team with them, and they used to be a part of an organization that I had founded. And so it was so good. I hadn't seen them for years, and they had their team back there, and they were so excited. And I took a picture with them. And Andrea looked at me, and she said, John, she said, we're going to grow this team just like you taught us how to. Can I tell you something? Your personal growth and your ability to grow yourself is essential to your success. It's essential to your success. You cannot grow your team any greater than you can grow yourself. It will only be as big as you. And so the laws of growth are just absolutely essential. You got to get them. They're laws. They're not good ideas. They're not principles. They're laws. A law is higher than a principle. A law works in every culture. A law works with both genders. A law works regardless of the time. The laws that I give you worked 500 years ago. The laws that I give you will work 500 years from now. They're laws. They're laws. This is huge. I started writing laws when I wrote the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. And then I wrote the 17 Laws of Teamwork, and now it's the 15 Laws of Personal Growth, and they're all laws. I remember a guy coming up to me on the 21 Laws of Leadership, and I was signing books, and he looked at me, he said, John, he said, I disagree with one of your laws. And I'm signing the book, and I said, that's okay. I signed the book and handed it back to him. He didn't move. He said, I looked up at him, he said, you didn't understand. He said, I disagree with one of your laws. And I smiled and I said, it's okay. And then I could tell that it wasn't okay with him, that it was okay with me. And I said, no, it's okay. And he still won't move. He said, no, he said, one of your laws, and I said, excuse me. My name's John, I'm your friend. I didn't write the book to make you happy. I wrote the book to help you. I'm a leader, not a clown. I don't care if you disagree with any of the laws. I mean, it's like somebody said, you know what, I disagree with the law of gravity. I don't care. I'll tell you what, go up to a 4-story building, jump off. You'll buy into the law of gravity immediately. You see, these laws, they don't ask you if you like them or if you can do kumbaya with them. They're the laws. And you don't want to miss them, and I'm going to give you 3 of them. The first one is the law of intentionality. And the law of intentionality says growth doesn't just happen. You nor I do not automatically grow. We do not automatically get better. Because you see, when I was 25, I thought that's what happened. I thought we just automatically got better. I thought if we just go to work and do our job, that somehow it would get better. And I didn't know any better until I was having breakfast with a guy named Kurt Kampmeyer, and Kurt looked at me and he said, John, what's your personal growth plan? And I didn't have one. I didn't know I was supposed to have a personal growth plan. Nobody ever told me I had to have a personal growth plan. But I was young and I was embarrassed because I didn't have an answer, and so I faked it. I faked an answer. And I began to tell him how hard I worked, and I just talked. I talked for 15 minutes. Just said nothing, but I just talked. And it was like a plane kind of going around the airfield trying to come in for a landing. I was just going round and round and round, and finally I ran out of gas and I landed that sucker. And soon as I shut up, he looked at me, he said, you don't have a plan, do you? And I said, no, I don't have a plan. And then he said words that changed my life. He said, John, don't you know, growth is not automatic. Growth is not automatic. You don't automatically get better. Listen, there is nothing good that happens to you if you think it will automatically happen? Nothing. There's nothing, I've never known anybody who just hung around and good happened. You can tell you're on the road to success. It's uphill all the way. There's no coasting on the road to success. There's no, I just think something good could happen to me today on the road to success. It doesn't happen automatically. The only thing that's automatic in your life and my life after we're born is we die. That's automatic. You don't have to work on that. You don't have to go to a class on how do I die. You just die. You understand? You just live long enough and then boom, it's over. You know what I'm saying? The heavenly fat lady sings, it's gone. You're going to die. That's automatic. You don't need to worry about it. You don't need to take a class on it. You don't need to have any instruction on it. You're going to die. That's it. Nothing else is automatic. And your success has to be intentional. You see, 95% of the people who live have good intentions and are never successful. Their good intentions say things like, you know, someday I would like to really add value to people. Someday I'd like to be successful. Someday I'd like to have a lot of money. Someday I'd like to live in a house like that. Someday I'd like to have a car like that. Someday I'd like to know someone like that. They have good intentions, but they're not intentional. You see, when you become intentional in your life, you don't accept life, you make life. When you become intentional, you take responsibility for where you are and who you are. And you change who you are to make yourself better, and you change where you are to get where you need to go. And that doesn't happen automatically. If you wait for life to be automatic, you will coast. And when you coast, you always go down, never up. No one ever coasted their way to success. I've never heard an interview where somebody was successful and they ask him, how did you get on top of the mountain? I've never heard a successful person say, oh my gosh, I have no idea. I'm so excited. I'm here. Have no idea how I did this. I think it was in my sleep I got here. No. You have to be intentional. If your life is going to be a life of success and significance, it's not going to be because you hoped for it or desired it. I run into these people all the time that they say, well, if you just have a dream, you'll get there. No. I know 99% of the people die with the dream still in them. Well, if you just believe it, woo! If you just believe it, you can achieve it. Woo! That's stupid. If you believe it, you can achieve it. What have you been smoking? That's just some motivational speaker talking that makes you feel good, but the next day you're not sure why. What would you think if I told you that I believe I could become a world-class ballet dancer? There's something about that body that says no way. I'm not coordinated. I can't jump, twirl. It ain't going to happen. This is the body of a blimp, not a ballet dancer. Hello. I can believe. I love these people. I believe I can fly. No, you can't. Go ahead, just try it. Come on. Just see if you can get down. Now, you can flap. Listen, I don't care how long the runway, a pig can't fly. If you would take all of that dreamy, smoky, believy stuff and turn it in to intentionality. Until you said, instead of saying, I'm going to stick it on my refrigerator. Why don't you stick it on your heart? And why don't you put it in your mind? And why don't you quit saying, I'm going to try, and you're going to start saying, I'm going to do. Hey, if you try this business, it won't work. If you do this business, it will work. Well, I'm going to give it a couple months. Don't even waste your time. Nothing was ever great in 2 months. Nothing's great in the beginning. You understand that, don't you? I love these people who say, well, all right, okay, I'm getting in the business and I really want to be good the first time. I just want to really be good the first time. My name's John. I'm your friend. Let me say something to you. You won't be good the first time. Excuse me. Nobody's good the first time. When you started to talk, you weren't good. You just went, wah. The only person who knew what you said was the grandparents. When you started to walk, you weren't good. You didn't get up one day and say, hey, let's run a mile. No. It's one step, fall down, one step, fall down, one step, fall down, one step, 2 steps, fall down, 2 steps, fall down, 3 steps, fall down, 3 steps, fall down, 4 steps, fall down, 4 steps, fall down, 5 steps, fall down, 5 steps, 6 steps, 7 steps, 8, fall down, fall down. You're not good the first time. That's why you've got to be intentional. People that try to get rich quick, people who try to be successful overnight, people who sometimes look for some kind of a quick fix, just kind of shoot me up with something, baby. It doesn't work. Intentionality works. And only does intentionality work. And the moment that you're intentional about what you're going to do, and you're committed to what you're going to do, this is where everything begins to change in your life. James Allen wrote a lot of wonderful books that had a lot of things wonderful to say. But in his book, As a Man Thinketh, he wrote these words, and I love these words. He said, most people are anxious to improve their circumstances, but they're not anxious to improve themselves. Hang on. They're anxious to improve their circumstances. Oh my gosh, somebody fix my problem, help me out. Can somebody help me? They're anxious to improve their circumstances, but they're not anxious to improve themselves. And James Allen said, they therefore remain bound. What did he mean? It's very simple. They were always trying to fix someone around them or fix something around them instead of fix themselves and improve themselves and grow themselves and develop themselves and take responsibility for themselves and be intentional themselves. So they were always just trying to fix something else or fix someone else. By the way, I read As a Man Thinketh in the 7th grade. You see, my father paid me an allowance. I'm the middle child, my older brother, my younger sister. He paid all 3 of us. When we got to 7th grade, our allowance was based on us reading books. Oh yeah. And he picked the books out. He picked the books out and he paid the allowance for us. You see, all my friends, they got allowances for doing chores. In fact, I went to my dad and said, all my friends get an allowance for doing chores. I think that's a good idea. What do you think? He said, I think it's a bad idea. He said, you do chores because you're part of the family, and I don't pay you to be part of the family. He said, let me put it this way. By the time you were born, you already owed your mother for 9 months of room and board. Now shut up and take out the garbage. And then he said, why would I pay you to take out the garbage unless I wanted you to grow up and be a garbage man? I put my money where my values are. But he paid us to read books. We had to read 30 minutes every day, and our dinner conversations every night were the books that we were reading and what were we learning. And by the time I graduated from high school, I had all the classic books, success books under my belt. In fact, I was flying down to Brazil, and I picked up, this was about 3 years ago, right when Success magazine came out, and they had an article on the 25 books that you need to read to be successful in your life, and it was a wonderful article. And I read the books, and it had a couple paragraphs describing each book. And when I finished the article, I thought, well, I've read these books, and I decided to count up how many books I read by the time I graduated from high school. And out of the 25, I had read 19 of those 25 books. 19. The only reason I hadn't read the other 6 is they hadn't been written yet. See, my father understood. My father understood. If you put the good stuff into it, and so I paid my children to read books. I pay my grandchildren to read books now. My oldest granddaughter, 14, her name's Maddie, and Madeline and I, she has a Papa list, and the Papa list has quotes that her and I go, and I teach her these quotes, and she gets them, and she'll say, oh, this is a good quote. Do you think it can make the Papa list? They call me Papa. They call Margaret Mimi. Margaret, when she picked out Mimi, she said, I don't want him to call you Pee-Pee. By the way, there's a book that I signed this morning, so it must be here. It's called Beyond Talent. And it's a phenomenal book for kids. It basically says no matter how gifted you are, no matter how talented you are, it's not enough. You've got to make right choices. And in that book, I give 12 choices that you need to make in your life to be successful. What a phenomenal, phenomenal book for kids. You see, my father was intentional in my growth when I was young. Are you with me? And I realized that I had to be intentional in my growth and in my development, in my life. It's a huge law. You got to develop a growth plan for your life. You've got to be consistent in that growth plan. Well, let me give you another law. The law of reflection. The law of reflection just says learning to pause allows growth to catch up with you. In other words, when you learn, you've got to then have some time to take what you have learned and begin to let it marinate in your life. And then you need to let it apply into your life. This is huge. You need to have some way to reflect, to think. We've all heard this expression that experience is the best teacher. Haven't we heard that? How many of you ever heard the expression experience is the best teacher? How many of you ever said experience is the best teacher? Thank you. It's not. It's another stupid saying that people say. Like if you believe it, you can achieve it. Just not true. It's not true. Not true. If experience were the best teacher, as people got older, everybody would get better. And I know a lot of people getting older and they're not getting better at all. Are you with me? How many of you know somebody, they're getting older but they're not getting better? Come on, talk to me. Absolutely. How many of you are sitting beside that person right now? You see, experience is not the best teacher. Evaluated experience is the best teacher. I know people who go through experience after experience, and they don't learn anything. Are you with me? They just have another experience. You've got to sit back and reflect. That's why this law of reflection is huge. You have to think about what you've experienced. You've got to think about what you're learning. You've got to have a system. You've got to have a plan. For example, I'm going to give you one right now. This is worth everything that you've come for in this conference. I promise you this is. What I'm going to give you right now is going to take your learning and your application to a whole new level. This is almost as good as the question I gave you in the beginning when I told you to back up your truck. It's time to back up the truck again. Because when you back up your truck, what's John going to do? What's John going to dump in your truck? Yeah, absolutely. So look at your neighbor and say, John's going to dump gold again in your truck. Go ahead and tell him that, Yeah. How many of you want some gold dumped in your truck? Yeah. How many of you need to get a bigger truck? All right, because here comes the gold. Because this, folks, I'm telling you, this stuff I'm giving you, this stuff works. This stuff will change your life. This will make you better. This will let you go to the top. How many of you want to go to the top? This stuff works. You see, if I were sitting right where you're sitting, and I was listening to me, I would have a system called ACT. A-C-T. So while you're taking notes, every time I say something that you need to apply to your life, that's the A in ACT. And over on the left-hand side, every time I say something you need to apply, you just put a big A there and say, ooh, I need to apply that to my life. Every time I say something to you that you need to change, oh my gosh, I need to make a U-turn on that one, you just put a letter C for change. Every time I say something that you need to teach someone else, you put a letter T. And as you take notes, not only with me, but all the rest of your speakers at this wonderful conference, every time somebody says something you need to apply, put that A over there. Something you need to change, put that C over there. Put something you need to teach someone else, put that letter T. I've been doing this for 35 years. Now here's what you do. When you leave this conference, within 24 hours of the time you leave, you sit down with your notes and you review those notes and you look at all of your A's, all of your C's, and all of your T's. And here's what you do. Two things. You categorize them. Put all the A's together, the C's together, the T's together. After you categorize them, you prioritize them. You look at all the A's, all the things I need to apply. What was the most important thing that John said? Or what was the most important thing, as another speaker said, that I need to apply this right now? What's the most important thing I need to change right now? A1, C1, T1. What's the most important thing I need to teach? What was the second most important thing I need to apply? A2, C2, T2. Are you getting the picture? Categorize, prioritize. Now what do you do with that ACT? You take the ones that you need to apply, the most important thing you need to apply, and that's what you do for the next month. For the next 30 days, you take the A1, the C1, and the T1, and every day, you apply it, you change it, and you teach it. Every day, for 30 days, that's where you get your habits. It takes 30 days to get a habit. Every day, A1, C1, T1, for 30 days. When you're finished with the 30 days, guess what you do? You go to A2, C2, T2. And the next 30 days, you take those and you work them. Now what I'm doing, what am I giving you? I'm giving you a personal growth plan. Remember intentionality. I've just now given you an intentional growth plan. How's that? Does that work, huh? Okay, now look at the person you're sitting beside and say, John just gave you an intentional growth plan. Just tell them that. Let me ask you something before we go on. Are you learning something? Look at your neighbor. Ask him, are you learning something? Go ahead and ask him, are you learning something? Look right back at him and say, not enough yet, not enough yet, not enough yet. There are 15 laws to growth, and John's just given us 2. Let me give you my favorite piece on reflection. I'm going to read it to you. It's called, just listen, you don't need to take notes on this one. It's called an autobiography in 5 short chapters. It's by Portia Nelson. Listen to this. Chapter 1. I walk down the street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I fall in. I'm lost. I am helpless. It isn't my fault. It takes forever to find my way out. Chapter 2. I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I pretend I don't see it. I fall in again. I can't believe I'm in the same place, but it isn't my fault. It still takes a long time to get out. Chapter 3. I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I see that it is there. I still fall in. It's a habit. My eyes are open. I know where I am. It is my fault. I get out immediately. Chapter 4. I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I walk around it. Chapter 5. I walk down a different street. Listen to me carefully. Most people spend their entire life walking down the same street. They change nothing about their life because they don't take time to reflect. They don't have an honest day with themselves. They don't pull away and ask themselves the hard questions. And even more sadly, they don't ask themselves the hard questions. They don't answer the hard questions. And because they don't reflect, and because they don't pull away, and because they don't think, they keep doing what they've always been doing. And then they wonder why there's no success in their life. And they wonder why there's no positive change in their life. Because they haven't taken time to think and reflect. You see, reflection changes experience into insight. That's why I wrote a book recently. Love this book. Sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. Oh yeah. If you're successful, sometimes you win and sometimes you learn. If you're not successful, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. 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 And why do you keep losing? You keep losing because you haven't spent enough time to reflect and learn from your losses. Yeah, that's good, isn't it? That is so stinking good. Now let me just say something before I give you the third law. You're just such a great audience. I'm loving this. I'm loving this. And here's what I can tell. Here's what I can tell. I can tell you're really getting it. I love that. I can tell you're getting it. But I am a little concerned about the person on your left. And I can tell, looking at you, you're a little concerned too, aren't you? Yeah, I can just tell. I mean, it's just in your... No, don't look at him, don't look at him. Some of you are looking at him. Don't look at him. Don't do that. You and I know. You and I know that you are getting it. And the one on your left is just a hair slower. Yeah, you know it, don't you? You know it. You know it. No, don't say it. Come on. Just, you and I know this. So just real quickly, before I give you the third law, just smile and look at him and say, it's okay, I'll help you. It's okay. It's okay, I'll help you. All right, are you ready to help him on law 3? The reason you need to help them on law number 3 is because this is the most, I think for me, the most important law of growth. And let's put it this way. This is my most important law. Of the 15 laws of growth, this law has helped me more than any other law. So you don't want to miss it. So what you do is you take notes on the third law, just slide them a little to the left. Okay. This law is amazing. Do you have a dump truck? Do you have a dump truck? Because if you have a dump truck, you may want to back it up one more time. Can you handle a little bit more gold? Just a little bit. Not a lot. Not a lot. Just a little bit. Not a lot. Not a lot. Just a little bit more gold. Okay. Come on. I love it. Some of you are doing this. Bring it on. Come on. Talk to me. Tell me to bring it on. Bring it on. Yeah. So bring it on. Bring it on. Huh? Drop it on me. Drop it on me. Drop it on me. You ready? Huh? The law just want to give you time to reflect. The law of consistency. You see, the law of consistency says motivation gets us going. That's what's happening here at the conference. Motivation gets us going, but discipline keeps us growing. In other words, we're here at this conference and we're all motivated, aren't we? We're all ready to go. We're ready to charge hell with a water pistol. Come on. We're so excited. We're so motivated. But can I tell you something? The motivation that you have here, the excitement that you have here, has nothing to do with your success when you leave here. If motivation, the first time you heard something, made a person successful, everybody be successful. It's what you do after the motivation leaves you. You say the difference between a winner and a whiner. A whiner wants to feel good before they do something. Oh, if I could just feel it, I'd do it. I'm just kind of, I'm not only your friend, I'm an idiot, aren't I? If I could just feel it, oh yeah, if I could just, can I tell you something? The most important things you ever do in life, you're not going to feel first. You see, whiners say, I've got to feel it before I do something, and winners say, I've got to do something before I feel it. And there's a world of difference between those two people. And the law of consistency is all about what I'm sharing right now. Wow. I love this law. Now, the reason I want you to know how important it is because people think it's unimportant. Consistency is not a sexy word. If somebody came up to you and said, "Oh, you are just so amazing. Could I tell you why you're so amazing?" You sit there and say, "Well, yeah, you got an hour." Well, the thing that makes you so amazing, the thing I value and appreciate about you so much is you were just so consistent. That wasn't the word I was looking for. I was looking for gifted, talented, smart, brilliant, charismatic, genius. I'll give you a whole list. Consistency isn't on it. But can I tell you something? Every successful person I know, they're successful because they found something that we're good at, and they stayed right there, and they consistently, every day, day in and day out, stuck with it. You see, you can't win the race unless you finish the race. There's never been an award or a reward for a quitter. Nobody has ever come to someone and says, "You know, the thing that has made you so successful in life is you have quit on everything in life." The thing that just has got you to the top is you go about 10 steps and you find out it's hard, so you stop. You see, my whole life is based on consistency. I have been, Inc. magazine 3 months ago said I was the #1 leadership expert in the world. Can I tell you something? I've been teaching leadership since 1976. Do the math. I've been writing on leadership since 1979. I've been doing resources since 1982. I have been speaking since I was 17. And I'm 67. 50 years. 50 years. We did the research. I have spoken 12,000 times. 12,000 times. So, I'm speaking to you today. I'm speaking to 13,000 people. And can I tell you something? I'm not one bit nervous. No, I'm not. I got a cough drop right here. I got my bottle of water right here. I just suck on my water. Let my little cough drop do the work on the throat. I sit in my chair. I lay back. I laugh with you. I laugh at myself. Got my little note cards right here in case I want them. People say, "God, you're amazing." Just, I've done this 12,000 times. I'm trying to do 12,000 times. 12,000 times. Think about it. Let's put it this way. If after 12,000 times you're not good, this is consistency. You see, you say, well, you make it look so easy. Well, it is easy, but it wasn't easy the first time. I was terrible the first time. And I know you're thinking I'm modest. I'm not modest at all. I'm giving myself the benefit of the doubt when I tell you I was terrible. I just can't think of a word that goes south. That was terrible. You understand that I'm a theologue by training. I was a pastor for 25 years, and so my speaking began as a kid. In my first, let me tell you about my first sermon. Well, let me tell you about my classmate's first sermon. His name was Don, and he was going to preach the week before I was going to preach, and we were both in college, and so he asked me if I would go with him and to give him support. I said I sure would, and he got up to speak, and he was so nervous. He was just sweating. He had a handkerchief. He was just sweating. And he lost his way. I mean, when I say he lost his way, that's giving him the benefit of the doubt. Because if you lose your way, you at one time had found your way. He never found his way. He never found it. So you can't lose what you didn't find. You understand? Hello? Nobody was home. I mean, it was awful. And so he would start to say something, and then he couldn't remember it. And he'd say, oh, God, help me. God, help me. God, help me. Oh, God, help me. God, help me. Help me, God. Help me, God. And I'm sitting on the front row. I'm there to encourage you. And I'm saying, oh, God, help him. God, help him. Help him, God. Help him. Oh, help him, God. Help him, God. Help him. 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 And then after about a minute, I realized God wasn't helping him. So I said, God, help us. Help us. Help us. Help us. Strike us with deafness. Deafness. Give us deafness. Give us deafness. Oh, make him mute. Help us. Help it. He lasted 3 minutes. It was the only good thing about it. We're going home. We're going back to the college campus. He's driving. I'm sitting in the front seat. I have nothing to say. I have the gift of encouragement, but the gift isn't working. Oh no! There's nothing to say. There's nothing to say. It was worse than worse. It was terribler than terrible. And I'm going to speak the next week. I should have never seen Don. Should have never heard Don. Should have never asked God to help Don, or help me, or help anyone. All next week I'm getting ready to do my first speech, and all I'm saying is, oh God, don't let me be that bad. Just don't let me be that bad. I don't want to be good, but don't let me be that bad. Don't let me be that bad. In fact, God, I only had one prayer. Let me last longer than 3 minutes. Just 3 minutes. Just let me last longer than 3 minutes. I was so panicked. I was so scared. I was so nervous. And I was so determined to last longer than 3 minutes. I'm going to give you my sermon outline the next Sunday. It was on sin, salvation, the Bible, faith, witnessing, prayer, I got up to speak. Didn't ask God to help me once. He didn't. Never sweat once. Closed it. In the car. Margaret was with me. She never said a word. Just a week before, I'd been in a car and never said a word. I finally said, well, how'd I do? She said, you went longer than 3 minutes. I said, how long did I go? She said, 55. They asked me to come back to that church the next year. And I thought, well, this gives me a chance to apologize. And when I got to that church, I looked out and I realized no one that heard me a year before had come back. They were telling the whole community, this is a Sunday you can skip. This is a Sunday to go on a trip. You could be sick. This is a sick day. This could be a sick day. We've heard him. We've heard him. He goes around the world and bores you. Now, listen carefully to me, because I only have a couple more minutes. Look at me. You're big and strong. I'm going to sit here. I'm 67. I could fall off, or I may not be able to get back up. You understand? So when I'm done, you come over here, and you either catch me or pick me up. Do you understand that? What's your name? Eric? My name's John. Are you my friend? All right. Only got a couple minutes, and I just want to sit down with you, okay? I'm not a public speaker now. I'm your friend. And no one wants for your success more than me. Because I want to tell you what. 40 years ago, was sitting right where you're sitting. I was starting off just like you're starting. I was coming to conferences eager to learn, just like you're eager to learn. I was bringing friends with me so that we could do it together as a team and grow together and learn together and hopefully maybe make our life count. You know what I wanted to do when I was your age? I wanted to make a difference, but I wasn't sure how to make a difference, and nobody had let out a game plan for me to how to make a difference. But I had a heart that was big, and I had a hope that was just pounding on my heart and chest. And I understood one thing, that I was new and I was young and I was green behind the ears, and that I could bore people for 55 minutes when I spoke. Listen to me. You see me now. You see me after I've sold 25 million books and written over 70 books, and you've seen me after I'm #1 leadership expert in the world, and you see me when I speak and have my cough drop and my water and I'm relaxed. You see me now. Listen, if you could see me then, you would be really encouraged. Yeah, you would. Talk to me. You would be really encouraged, because can I tell you something? You're so far better than I was at your age, and you're so far ahead of what I was at your age. My name is John, and I'm your friend, and here's what I'm saying to you before I wrap this up today. Here's what I'm saying to you. You can be successful and you can get to the top, but you're going to have to be consistent, and you're going to have to find your strengths, and you're going to have to have a heart that says, I will not quit my run. I will not stop short of my goal. I will achieve what I have set out before. Listen to me. Listen to me. Listen to me. For some of you, I'm your dad right now. For some of you, I'm your grandfather. But listen to me. The hope of our country and the hope of this world is people just like you. Just like you. Even like the person on your left. Yeah, that person on your left. The hope of this world is the hope of this company is in people just like you. And you say, can I make it? You certainly can make it. But you can't make it by just sticking a dream on your refrigerator. You gotta back it up. You gotta back it up with your life. You gotta back it up with your action. You gotta back it up with your attitude. You gotta back it up with your energy. You gotta back it up with your passion. You gotta back it up with your effort. You gotta back it up with your life. You can do it. You can do it. You